Looks like we are on the air.
I call to order the regular meeting for November 25th, 2024. You can join me with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please call the roll.
Bullard, absent. O'Brien here.
I'm here.
I'd like to let you know that as Chairman Bullard is absent, that I will be chairing this meeting. So when I refer to myself as chair, it's of course for the meeting and not for the board. The next item is public comment, and I do follow Resolution 070544 for 3 minutes each. If you would like to speak, please come to the lectern and speak. And this is the only time in the meeting for public comment. Hearing none, we will move to approval of minutes. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I had the opportunity to review the 9/20 meeting minutes. I did have the opportunity to read the 23rd and 14th, but have outstanding questions. I sent the 23rd questions to the fiscal officer, still reviewing the 14th. So at this time, I'd like to move to approve the 9/20 meeting minutes and dispense with the reading.
I second. Discussion? Moved by Trustee Braille, seconded by the chair. Please call the roll.
Braille,
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes. That takes us to discussion and considering taking action regarding the March 14th severe weather. For the appropriation of payment, where are we on this? Do we need it then and now?
Yes, and it's there.
Okay.
Financials.
Did you send it via email?
No.
It is the amount that we have approved basically. So I move that we approve a then and now appropriation for $57,400 to Worthington Construction LLC.
Second.
Moved by the chair, seconded by Trustee Real. Discussion.
This includes everything, and everything is complete. Is that correct?
It includes everything. That's the full amount of the price. I noticed my lights aren't on out here. I don't know if there's anything else that's left to do. Is the punch list all? I don't know if the punch list is all done or.
Trustee Bullard was in charge of that.
Because there still were a few
She showed us up
outstanding.
either, I think. So I suppose there's stuff that's not done.
But approving this doesn't say that it's, well, did you cut a check for it? I haven't gotten that far.
Yes, I did.
So approving this doesn't do that. But if we want to hold it, we can do the hold when we do the resolution in regards to the warrants.
Yeah, that's fine.
Further discussion? Please call the roll.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Braille.
Yes.
Fire. I actually have extras. I don't know if we can get through this before our time's in. Let's just try on fire. Requisitions.
Good evening. I have 3 requisitions tonight. The first one being requisition 2024-026 for IT Made Real LLC for the purchase of a new laptop computer for the training room at the fire station. Includes all setup and programming. Cost is $819.99 with 20% incidental. Comes to $983.99 as the requisition. This computer is for our training room. The current laptop is, the best people can tell me, is about 12 to 15 years old. It's pretty much outlived its useful life. I contacted Trustee Rail because I know she handles a lot of the technology for the township, and she pointed me in the right direction to the IT folks, and that's our quote. So I'd appreciate approval on that requisition.
Okay, and I do note that there's a labor credit of $100. They added $100, so it really nets out to zero. So I move that we approve appropriation to IT Made Real LLC for an amount of $983.99 with an expected cost of $819.99 for the purpose of HP ProBook 15.6-inch FHD screen laptop.
Second.
Moved by the chair, seconded by trustee Rail. Discussion. Please call the roll.
Rail,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes. Next item.
The next one is a requisition via then and now, unfortunately, for 2024-027 to Orange Township for work on engine 93. These were emergency repairs that came about during regular maintenance that had to have brakes done. I had
On what?
engine 393, our primary fire truck. We had it down for regular maintenance and pump testing, and he found that the brakes were in dire need of replacement. So I authorized those. Had no idea they were going to be quite that much, but that's what it came to. So,
What you guys do routine maintenance on those trucks? They're orange.
yes, that's where we took it.
Why were the brakes in such bad shape?
I can't answer that. That's the first time it's been down there since I've been here. So,
Yeah.
they go in for, since Captain Carr left in the spring, really nobody's been spearheading our maintenance division. So I've taken care of that. I appointed a captain last week to be in charge of our maintenance, apparatus maintenance. So hopefully we'll get a little better handle on, those types of things. He can work closely with Bill down at Orange and get those things, before they become
Emergencies.
emergencies. Yes.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I don't either.
Illegal
So,
work. And I don't want
Don't
to
feel
for
bad.
maintenance of our fire trucks
Yeah.
either.
right.
Yeah.
So,
And which captain is that?
it'll be Captain Micah Swanson.
Great.
I differentiate the two because there is a Malachi Swanson, but it's Micah Swanson will be in charge of our vehicle maintenance now. So.
Good job assigning.
Thank you.
Okay, so I move that we approve the then and now and appropriation as outlined in requisition 2024-027 for an amount of $6,277.57 to Orange Township for the purpose of an emergency repair to engine 393.
Second.
Moved by the chair, seconded by trustee Rail. Discussion. Please call the roll.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Rail,
Yes.
Next item.
The last requisition I have is 2024-028 from Municipal Emergency Services for the purchase of 5 SCBA masks and accessories totaling $8,380. With the hiring of all our new folks, we're running out of SCBA masks. Each firefighter's issued their own SCBA mask for health and safety purposes. We are running out of them. So the SCBA guy came to me and said, "Hey, we need to order some masks." And there it is.
So I don't have that on this attachment list. Do you have a hard copy of it?
I do.
If I may. Yeah, I don't either.
You don't have it on the email?
I sent 2 emails because this came after I'd sent the original report to you guys, but it was still before noon, so I sent an attachment and said, "Hey, pay attention to this one, ignore the last one."
Yeah, I saw that.
So I move that we approve requisition 2024-028.
Yeah, it is on the email.
It's a different one. No, sorry, I didn't have that. For an amount of $10,056 with an expected cost of $8,380 to MES Municipal Emergency Services for the purpose of C5 face piece masks and neck straps.
Second.
Moved by the chair, second by trustee Rail. Discussion.
Did you read off the quote number? Or did you read the requisition?
I read the requisition.
That's fine.
Further discussion? Please call roll.
Randall,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes. Next item?
The next item on my list is the fire station structural review. We had some comment from Mr. Stucco. I'm going to be getting a hold of the engineering firm tomorrow to get us names of the companies that are able to do that work, to get us some pricing, and I will have those quotes for you at the next meeting to move forward. And if Trustee O'Brien, if you want to explain further, if Megan has questions.
So, I'm pleased that we did go through Mr. Stucco instead of doing the resolution that we had considered, because he changed his mind, Mr. Stucco, as to needing to do the RFP.
Yeah.
Because once it got down to writing the resolution, he said, well, you don't really have to do that. You can do it cool. Well, it's like, why didn't we start with that? But, okay. But regardless, it was going to become difficult because we would have to come up with a scoring system and all that before we put this out. And since it's really not necessary, I said, well, the quote system really makes more sense, because if there's only 2 firms that can do it, and only one of them actually really does it, and they have a fairly decent price, why are we going to?
Yeah, and it's under the bid.
Exactly. So for all those, I don't know why the machinations, but in the end, I think this is.
Okay, so we'll get quotes
There you go.
from the 2 companies that can do it,
And
and it's all gonna be under the,
And I'll get a hold of the engineering firm tomorrow, get the names of these companies, send them the information, and hopefully get some quotes back before the next meeting on the 9th, and see if we can't get this project moving forward.
yeah, and just to confirm, we did request that the Township Hall Halon system that is showing on the agenda be taken off, didn't we? Or is there an update on that?
There is not, but yeah, that was supposed to be taken off. I don't have that on my notes.
Mr. Jordan, could you please ensure that gets removed from the agenda moving forward?
removed.
And then also the cell phone,
Yeah, that's not, actually will be here this week, so we've moved through the process of getting the ability to order the thing, and it actually was shipped today, so it'll be here this week, and we'll get it turned on, so.
okay. Mr. Jordan, could you also remove that from the agenda moving forward as well?
Cell phone for fire chief.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
And on the records management system, isn't that for further discussion later?
Yeah, that, we can leave that off the agenda for now as well.
Okay, SOP, SOG.
What, confirm with the fiscal officer, that's gonna be removed.
So, Fiscal Officer Jordan, can we take that off, please?
Records management system,
Yes, please.
Yes.
done.
Until it's put on again.
Right.
As of right now, we're staying put. SOP, SOGs, I received the initial group back from Mr. Stocco, and I'm working on his revisions based on his recommendations. I sent him a lengthy email late last week with some questions on his comments. I spoke with him on the phone this afternoon, and he said he's going to be emailing me back either today or tomorrow. I haven't received it yet, so I'm guessing tomorrow. So that we're moving forward with those as well.
Okay, SOGs will come up on the future. OFCA consulting services.
So that I have I sent a resolution.
Wait, one comment on the SOP, SOG, if I may.
Yes.
You sent some to the prosecutor's office, you sent some to Mr. Ravenhoff.
Yes.
Have you heard back from
Not from Mr.
Ravenhoff?
Ravenhoff, no.
Have you heard back from Ravenhoff?
He was rewriting the one that substantially, and the other one he said for us to not adopt because it's taken care of in the handbook.
Okay, thank you.
And the one that Mr. Stocko's particularly stuck on was the gift one, and so that one is tricky because people want to give things and they can't, and there's things that can be accepted, and so I said, just make sure that we're legal and everything is kosher, and so he's rewriting.
Okay, sounds good.
FOCA consulting services?
Yes, I have a resolution for you tonight to accept the proposal from S3D Public Safety Consultants. I have a much cleaner copy of the resolution than what I may have sent. So we can move that in the record. I got two bids. I got two quotes from two different vendors. One was the Ohio Fire Chiefs Association. The other one was S3D Public Safety Consultants. The S3D quote was significantly less than the Ohio Fire Chiefs quote for the same work. Trustee O'Brien and I met with him last week before. Late the week before. He had, addressed concerns, his concerns and answered questions and things like that. So I'd like to ask the board to approve that resolution to approve the proposal as resolved,
As quoted.
as quoted.
That's, so it's 12,500.
Yes,
How much more approximately was the
twice.
twice?
Yeah, it was over 25,000 for the Ohio Fire Chiefs.
And could you state just the primary goal of the organizational analysis in your?
So the primary goal is, as you well know, this community is rapidly expanding, rapidly growing. And I want to make sure we're staying at the forefront of that growth in the fire department. So they're going to look at everything that we do on a daily basis. From an outside perspective, they're going to analyze the entire organization, from what we do, how we do it, and those types of things, and be able to give us a report back on not only what we're doing good, what we're doing that we could improve on, all those types of things, and then also a roadmap for the future with recommendations on, whatever those things are. And I can't even fathom some of the things that they might come up with, but just those types of things kind of give us a roadmap to take the fire department in the future that we can follow. That's really what I'm looking for. Sometimes it's nice they say you're never shepherding your own flock kind of thing. Sometimes it's nice to, get an outside perspective and really kind of analyze, put some different brain power to it. All the guys that work for this company are either current or retired fire chiefs. And I think 3 of the 4 work for townships. So, Mr. Pegram that Mr. O'Brien and I met with, he is a retired fire chief and township administrator. So he is very well versed in township government and how townships work. And so I think they're going to give us a great product and give us a roadmap into the future for the department.
You concur?
So between the two, I thought the second one was far superior, even though it was half the cost. And when I spoke with him, he understood townships. He had been an administrator. He had actually been fire chief and administrator, and he was just administrator. So
it must have been a small township.
I don't know that it was really actually that small. And a lot of the work that they've done has been from municipalities, and I had concerns about that because
We're not.
we were not, and I didn't want to
Very
compare.
different.
So I was very clear of what my expectation was and what I felt the board would be, because I said, don't give us a product that's a wish list that we aren't going to implement, because we've got things on the bookshelves here and at the county, and the sheriff. My experience was the sheriff wanted a analysis done just to give him what he wanted.
Right.
And he used it against the commissioners, but when you went down things, it just didn't make sense. So it didn't matter that you had it. So I said, I want something, and I'd also like to have it in such a way, a format, that we can sort of do cafeteria style, so that if we choose to do something, we can implement some things without having to implement it all. Because if we have to implement it all, it's way too costly. On the bookshelf, dust it comes.
A couple of things I'd like to ensure get put into this analysis would be technological needs, spacing needs, and staffing needs. And I'm
Yes.
sure staffing, obviously, but the technology needs are also paramount to me because what we're doing with connecting the township and the station. And I think that that's a huge gap that we have in our collective experience and knowledge base in terms of what should we be doing to anticipate future technology needs in fire.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, staffing needs, I'm sure they'll do, but specifically interested in organizational structure recommendations.
So, and as a point to that, and just so you're aware, you will have the opportunity to sit down with that group individually and talk to them about what your roles as trustees.
Yeah, but you can send it on in the meantime so that they're
Yeah.
correct.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But just so you know, you'll have the opportunity to sit down and speak with them on what your goals as the trustees are going to be for the fire department. So that'll be incorporated into the report. It's not just going to be all the fire department stuff. It'll be you guys. Yeah, absolutely. So that's what I have for that.
Is that in the email?
Yes, it was in my email.
So if the board is inclined, I'll read the resolution. If the board's not inclined, I'm not going to.
The board is.
So I move a resolution to conduct an organizational analysis of Berlin Township Fire Department preamble. Whereas the Board of Township Trustees of Berlin Township, Delaware County, Ohio, the township, at the recommendation of the fire chief, desires to have an organizational analysis of the fire department to evaluate how the department serves the resident and the visitors of the township, and whereas it is in the interest of the township and its residents to have a qualified outside agency conduct such an evaluation of Berlin Township Fire Department. Now therefore be resolved by the Board of Trustees of Berlin Township, Delaware County, Ohio, the board that the following resolution being is hereby adopted. Resolved that the township hereby accepts the proposal from S3D Public Safety Consulting to conduct an organizational analysis of the Berlin Township Fire Department. It is further resolved that the township will pay a total of $12,500 for its services as outlined in the attached proposal. And it is resolved that the analysis will begin as soon as possible after execution of the contract and be completed within 120 days, barring unforeseen delays.
Second.
Moved by the chair, seconded by trustee Braille. Discussion? Please call the roll.
Rare,
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes. So that takes us to fire department updates. If you can give the most important in 2 minutes, and then if you
Yeah,
need
I can
further than
buzz.
that.
I'll just buzz right through this. The most important one is, I need a motion to accept the resignation of firefighter Tyler Bagley from the Berlin Township Fire Department. He was part-time with us. He was contacted with our fraud training and whatnot, and he has chosen to resign. I provided the resignation letter in very, very small print to Mr. Jordan. I will send it on via email. I had no idea it was going to print that small from our email, but he basically told me that one line that he's resigning. So
What was the date effective?
today.
I can't even read it.
Yeah, I can't remember, but let's just make it today.
I can take a picture and blow it up.
Well, if it's tonight, then he's going to have to produce
Okay, blow it
this.
It doesn't say a date. The date of the email is November 8th.
So November 8th.
But then he's going to have to do the fraud training because it's after the deadline.
Well, not really. I mean, we can't compel.
I don't know how I'm going to compel somebody who no longer works here to do fraud training.
Might get cited, which I'm not going to be happy about.
Well, but remember, fraud training compliance is about our good faith to ensure that the effort is done, for which we have documented reaching out to him how many times? Twice?
At least twice, yes.
And you forwarded that email to Fiscal Officer Jordan
I believe I have, yes.
Do you have that email?
of where he notified everybody.
If I have, I will.
Twice, yeah.
Yeah.
Just ensure that record, because I don't think that there will be any concern, because he had worked since that date, one. Two, we made attempts,
As long as we have the
Sure, have them.
documentation. So I move that we accept Tyler's.
and it never worked since then.
Well, I don't know if that's, usually they make a resignation as of the last date of their.
That's why I
Was he
asked.
full-time?
I think at one time he might have been, but as far as I know, he was not full-time when I got here.
I mean, typically.
He hasn't been, I've never met him, I don't even know who he is.
The resignation.
He's not worked since I got here in August, so you can backdate his resignation August 5th, because I've never seen the guy, so.
Well, let's do this. Let's make it effective at his last day.
Okay.
And the
Which I have no
giant.
idea what that is. I'll have to dig that up.
Yeah, so I move that we accept Tyler Bagley's resignation effective the day after his last day.
Which I can dig up for you tomorrow.
To be confirmed by.
I'll send you those
To be
emails.
confirmed by Chief Taylor.
Second.
Discussion. Moved by the chair, seconded by trustee Rail. Please call the roll.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Rail,
Yes.
Anything else?
Just our new firefighters have started. We have 8 great eight great new employees, 2 full-time, 6 part-time. So, we've done all our pump testing, all our fire apparatus, that's all passed. If you haven't been by the station at night, please drive by and take a look at the Christmas lights. The guys put up new permanent lights on the building, so those will be up year round, and we'll be able to change the colors for different holidays and events and things like that. So, I would like to just give a shout out to 3 Unit for getting that done. It's not 100% complete yet. They got some more to do, but this rain's keeping us from doing it. So, we did the Fantasy Lights, the Kid Again event Thursday evening. That was phenomenal. I don't have numbers from the bandos yet, but it was well attended. I would say we're in excess of 500 to 600 people that we saw. And then we had service completed on the HVAC at Firehouse. That's all I got.
Thank you very much.
As quickly as I could.
Chief, I just want to say that I appreciate you I appreciate the communication of your reports as well as the requisitions. Great job on that, because it helps me come in prepared and ready to at least ask questions. So, thank you for the work you put into this, and please continue. So,
Absolutely will. Thank you.
I'm very excited to have new employees that are excited about their positions too. So
Yeah.
good job on the hiring.
We have 5 on today and 6 on tomorrow, so our staffing is ticked up to where it should be.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Great to hear.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So that takes us to a time certain at 5:45. Do you need time to set up?
The question, it's kind of up to you guys, and we only have the 4 slides, which I have pronounced out.
Just pronounce it fine.
Perhaps,
So you're ready to move?
I'm ready to.
Okay. So I call to order the hearing BZC case 24-006, 7 Hills of Grove.
And here's the hard copy of the document.
So, without objection, this is the way we'll proceed. We'll first have the applicant present. The board will ask any questions, and then we will open it to the public. Those speaking in favor of the project will speak first, then followed by those who are opposed. And if that continues, then we'll have rebuttal. Hearing no objections to order.
Thank you very much for hearing us out this evening. We've just come with responses from what happened at our last meeting. Rather than just coming with a list of things that we're going to change, we're going to have to change everything. The first slide just indicates the changes that we've made to the plans. On the west side, we added a new 6-foot pathway between the road B, the road A, into the western open space to allow easier access for those in the center lots to access that western open space. In response to the desire for some additional barrier between the road around the roundabout and the pond area, we went ahead and added those 6 additional trees spaced in such a way to allow cars to be blocked from the potential of going into the pond if they slide on that right away. Roundabout. On the predefined side-loaded garages, we adjusted based on engineering needs due to a different definition of side-loaded garage. So based on what you guys needed for that definition, we went ahead and changed lot 63 to 67, which allows for that definition to be followed on that lot. We have added a detailed picnic table, which is relative in construction and style to the benches that are already detailed in the package. We had multiple changes to the development text to clarify various items. So we added section 11.06, and under that we had indicated that there will be a minimum of 2 model homes, and these will be located on lots 1, 2, 3, 44, 45, 78, or 79. We further stipulated that should the model home be on one of the lots pre-designated as a side-loaded lot, that the model home will have to be a side-loaded lot. In 1109.2, we added the word neutral to the descriptions of the exterior colors and building materials. We also found that in the text we had previously indicated there were specific colors designated, and we had just all missed seeing that. So they were predefined as whites, grays, tans, with certain accent blues and accent colors as green. In 1109.2, we defined a side-loaded garage as a layout in which, at minimum, one garage door does not directly face any road frontage. We further indicated on the pre-designated lots which directions those garages can face, so that it's very clear for the predefined lots where they can be. To 1109.2, we added just more detail about what your code regulations say for signage lighting, and that we're going to be meeting that regulation, specifically to avoid shining on neighboring properties or into the sky, and in which the lighting for signage shall be equipped with automatic timing devices and shielded and focused to minimize pollution. To 1109.5, we indicated that control of the HOA shall be turned over to the property owners once 85% of the lots have been granted occupancy permits, and all amenities, including the fountains and pond inlets and outlets, shall be installed prior to turning the HOA over to the residents. Added to 1109.10C, we've indicated that all paths abutting project perimeter property lines shall extend to the property perimeter line to allow connectivity to paths on adjacent properties. To 1109.10K, we indicated that if the provided open space, excluding the ponds and power line easements, is reduced below 15 acres, it shall be considered a major site plan change requiring trustee approval. And then lastly, to 1109.10AA, we indicated that a maintenance plan and mowing schedule shall be provided with the final development plan and shall include specific instructions to prevent the growth and spread of giant hogweed. We have matter in here to discuss the next slide, which is the information we received when requesting the emergency access be turned into a full access drive, and the potential of having a connection northwards between multi-use pathways.
So first, to address the changing of the emergency access to full access, I reached out to our traffic engineer to determine the impact to Pyatt Road and how it needed to be configured. He determined that it would require a left turn lane. So both entrances would require left turn lanes off of Pyatt, northbound, left turn into the subdivision. And there was a concern about. Explain it. So north, obviously turning left into the proposed subdivision, so you're driving north on Pyatt, the road would have to be widened with a left turn lane down the middle outside of the flow of traffic to turn left into the main entrance. And then if we turn the emergency access into full access, there would also need to be a left turn lane off of Pyatt at that location as well.
So what you're saying is that without it, you only have to do that for the one.
Correct. It's based on,
So it can happen, it's just,
you mean,
Let him finish the
Yeah.
description, is it,
well, I wanted to understand what you said.
if that were to be allowed, it would require a left turn lane. So that's where we're at. The current configuration that is required based on proposed design with just the emergency access is a left turn lane into the main entrance and going northbound on Pyatt, and a left turn lane into Big Meadows coming southbound on Pyatt. So there will be a left turn lane for both subdivisions.
I understand.
Okay.
I don't know why, but I understand
You don't know why?
why it would affect me, but
Okay.
we can go into that when it's our turn.
It's just something the county does. If you're gonna do a left turn lane into one, and there's subdivision across the street, they say, well, you need to put the left turn lane in for the opposing subdivision. At least that's their stance. On this one in particular, I don't know why, and
but that wouldn't
I believe
apply
that's
to the left turn lane at the new access road, because there's no road there on the other side,
correct, so it's only a left turn lane to heading west.
which you already have to do anyway. Right now, the entry is directly across from the other subdivision, so you're already gonna have to do that double left turn lane there.
Correct, opposing left turns, yes.
And you wouldn't have to do it above if the access road were to become a left turn.
No, you would.
You wouldn't, because there's no road to turn into there.
Oh, correct, if it's an emergency access,
Right.
correct.
No.
No, there's no road to turn into on the other side of that road.
No,
There's,
you would still need it northbound, you would not need it southbound, because there's no road to turn into on the east side.
right, so there wouldn't be a double left turn lane necessary.
At that location,
At
correct.
that location.
Correct.
You would just have, only into your subdivision.
Correct.
Yes.
Sorry,
You're
so,
fine.
I apologize for
You're good.
confusion.
So, well, for clarification, are you saying it has to have a deceleration lane and a turn lane?
Well, so the decel is kind of built into it, there's 50-foot divergence safer, which is like, kind of, it gets you over into it, and then there is, I believe, 235 feet of what is deceleration and stacking, really, for the left turn movement. And that's based on the speed, the speed limit of 5. So there would not be enough room for a left turn lane into Maid Meadows, which is currently required, and a left turn lane should the emergency access be changed to full access. And then the county expressed concern about tapering it back down coming into the roundabout. There was not enough room to taper it back down to the appropriate width before it got to the roundabout. So basically, it's too close to the roundabout and it's too close to the other entrance. And there's no room to move it in between because it's kind of sandwiched in between. So the county was not. So they were not-
What's the statement? We are not supportive of a mid-block pedestrian crossing of Cheshire Road.
So that gets to the next part. If are we understanding?
I understand what they're
I
saying.
understand.
Okay.
We may
We
address it.
don't agree.
Okay, that's fine. So the mid-block pedestrian crossing came to, when I reached out for plans, for the county's plans to build the overpass over the railroad. The shared use path that they are putting in is on the north side of Cheshire. So we have no ability to connect to it at our property line. So at that point, I requested, if it would be possible to put a pedestrian crossing across Cheshire Road at our northwestern corner. To which point they said they're extending the shared use path as part of their project all the way to the roundabout. And for safety concerns, they would not allow a pedestrian crossing mid-block.
So you're saying they are taking it all the way to the roundabout?
Correct.
On the north side of the road.
Correct.
So there's nothing to attach into, which is what we had said, we wanted their path to attach into the county path.
Right.
On the south side.
But.
But the path can still go up and around.
Yeah, it'll still go up and around along Cheshire. and
There'll
come to
still
the
be-
southwest.
So it will connect into roundabout
Yes.
also,
Yep.
which is not going to be very safe, but for the amount of
That's
traffic.
safer than what they would do right now,
I'm-
walking in the grass and on the side of the road.
I agree.
Okay.
I'm
So
sorry, I missed that. The viaduct overpass can go all the way to the roundabout? Is it-
just the shared use path is gonna go.
Okay, got it.
It's gonna come back down, so, they bring it up over the railroad and then come back down to existing ground. But the path, the road improvements will stop there wherever they connect and are able to bring it back to the current width. But the shared use path will extend across the rest of the properties all the way to connect to this shared use path or, sidewalk or whatever they have there on the northwest corner. That roundabout.
Do they have houses there?
There
They are, but they can do,
They're gonna have to do eminent domain.
You can either do that, or, they might have already.
You might have-
They said this is what they're doing, so whether they, got it through eminent domain or reached out and.
you have documentation, they said that they were going to do this.
I have the plans and,
Do you have an email?
sorry,
Do you have an email that you could forward to us?
I believe, was it not in here? I just reached out for the plans and then they said, so they sent me the plans.
It
So it's
In the
says,
plans,
So you email us the plans, or do we
yeah,
have?
I can do that.
we don't have them. That's why I was asking about this mid-block, pedestrian connection, because
Yeah,
But,
sorry.
but I kind of understand. I kind of understand. Well, that's a discussion.
Sorry, I just naturally when I found I was on the north side of the road, that was the only opportunity for our connectivity in roughly the location you were requesting was to do a mid-block crossing. So I just want to.
So how does it terminate now? Is it back to the old plans?
Well, it'll actually, so we won't have a stub anymore, I would assume. I don't know, because we're
Well,
working.
what is the plan?
What is it?
Studying right now.
We show it starting right now. We were going to discuss how you guys would like us to proceed with it. Our idea is to take that multi-use path, that 10-foot path that runs Cheshire, leave the multi-use path on Piatt at 10 feet, and then so that people know that it connects north for a multi-use path, and then switch it to a normal 5-foot walking path along Cheshire on our side, and just loop it around down in the western open space. So essentially, we would have the same amount of path. We would just be taking that 10-foot path all along Cheshire and taking it down to 5 to not confuse people. Or 6, sorry, 6, yes. To not confuse people when they're on the path on Piatt.
So what's the plan? What are we voting on if we were to vote now?
The plan you have in front of you leaves it as it was in terms of the 10-foot path along Piatt. There is a
And do you have
connection.
any other language?
Do I have language? No.
Okay.
That's pretty much the extent of what I have is they said we couldn't change the emergency access to full access and there was no,
Can't?
well, I did not get a response since my last email to them. When they said that, let's see. They said I can't say with certainty without more concrete plan information, but yeah, it would be difficult to accommodate.
And it doesn't seem like
At
there
that
will be
location.
enough space to do so, particularly if widening the road for the left turn lane ends up being on one side of the road rather than symmetric.
And
It's not a no,
correct, it's not an absolute no.
but it's a Probably not.
It's a county answer.
It's a county answer, yeah.
Yes, I apologize, you're right, it doesn't say absolute no. That's, yeah. But I can't make them do it either, so it's, I don't know. I'm put in a spot where we ask them what we're allowed to do, and they tell us what we're allowed to do. And based on their response, it doesn't seem like it would be allowed. But I don't have a concrete answer one way or the other, unfortunately.
Anything else on your presentation?
I don't really have anything else.
That was everything that we had. We're here to answer questions or any further discussion.
Questions?
Well,
Discussion?
yeah, just one, I received so this is our second meeting together, and I did receive the initial draft of the language. I did have the opportunity to review it. I gave feedback. Thank you for incorporating that feedback. All of the language requirements that we discussed to me are acceptable. I think we just had a couple of items to still work through, namely that what you just described as that pathway. So that obviously wasn't discussed in our last meeting, or it's actually changed because we had it all paths abutting project perimeter shall extend to the project perimeter property line. So we would need to change that now if we did this alternative where we have it wrapping around. I'm not opposed to it wrapping around, but I don't want the transition to be awkward, like on the turn going from 10 feet to 6 feet. So I'd like it to, the word is, I'm thinking it was like decrescendo, taper it down in a like way that it doesn't like just go really quick down. Does that make sense?
Sure.
And then going around, and I do like the loop that gets created then as a result, and that would be a great activity walking area. I also like the pathway that you put in. I think that will make the whole open space more accessible to everyone in the subdivision. And then hogweed, we wrote to the Ohio Township Association about it as well. And we got a contact for the railroad, and that might be somebody that we could connect you with to try to get a resource to take care of that as well. I mean, good luck. Getting Herrera out with that. And then the emails with the county, you answered the question about the path. I don't, I took it as kind of a pretty much no, and they're gonna say that's due to the distance from the roundabout. But I don't know that I agree with that, because I did find some examples of full roads that were even closer to roundabouts across the county.
Okay.
So like theoretically, we could provide a few different examples of the distance between the roundabout and a full road turn-in with a left lane, because I know that they exist now. I only can think of two off the top of my head, but if we provided exemplars of them allowing for that spacing distance, and it was 278.
So,
It's
no,
the
that's-
font's just so small, guys.
sorry. So,
There is a full-size copy in the packet.
Oh, okay.
Of the full documents. Yeah, this is just a kind of a cut down. I think it's the last two pages.
the taper would need to be 330 feet, and there's 278 based on the.
They say it's, yes, they say it's 278 distance and it requires 330.
Correct.
So I would want to counter that example with examples of it being, of where they have put in a roundabout with a full road that was 278 or, distance or
Yeah.
less.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, They did not say no. If you have,
Yeah. But I mean, that's not necessarily something like, so I guess if they could put in a full road, would you be amenable to that?
It seems dangerous to me, it's too close to the roundabout.
Well, that's not the question.
Okay, no, well, he might say yes. The difference between a 20-foot, it's gonna change the plan too, so we're gonna have to relot out that top part.
Why would it change?
The 60-foot right of way goes in place of a 20-foot pathway right now, so our lots won't fit anymore on the top, so we're gonna have to reorient it.
it would actually be likely 70 foot, because that's what they require for entrances for the 3-lane width. Entrances, 70.
So it'll reconfigure the plan slightly. Sure.
But didn't you have, I guess I was thinking you had 70 feet with that spacing already.
Where the emergency access comes in?
Yeah.
It'll need a line straight across from the intersection, across the street from it, so it would need to be more, so the expansion would be on the north side of the emergency access road instead. If you know, see what I'm saying? Like, we have room on the south side of the emergency.
There's no road on the other side here.
Oh, no, internally, this road.
Oh,
So it would need to go more on the north side. There is probably enough if we're allowed to do all on the south side, but then we kind of slightly offset. So we wouldn't be able to do that.
they're
And we have to
saying
make those lots
they
bigger.
have enough room, but they would need to bring the road up here, so it would cut in a lot 7 as opposed to build it down there. Make it align with that road.
Oh.
That's all I have.
Can we go back to the trees along, the roundabout?
Yes.
I didn't see the 2.5-inch calipers mentioned.
That's actually your standard, is minimum of 2.5 caliper for all the trees that we put on, of large size, with large size trees. That's your normal standard.
Isn't that in our text already?
Yes.
Okay. And, as I recall, I thought there was already a tree or two in that area.
There were 3 trees there, and what we had discussed was adding an additional 6. So now there's a total of 9.
Okay.
Okay, that,
And that wasn't clear to me, so that is good. But the problem with that is the picture shows 6 and
no, that shows none. It's just very, when you blow it up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
I thought it
9.
was shaded.
If you look at the last page, there's a larger picture.
Yeah, that's, I had
To
to
make
go
it
that
easier to
one.
see.
I initially saw the same thing you saw, Trustee Brian.
Okay, on the other one, it looks like shaded.
Yeah,
On this one, it looks
exactly.
like a tree.
That's exactly right. That's why I had to, I mean, this is you guys are really challenging these 40+ lives here tonight.
Yeah, the 11 by 17s you have are even bigger.
Yeah,
The
I
actual
did see those
And
ones,
that-
and I blew up, like, what you had sent, I blew that up in the email. But that threw me off initially as well.
So what was the other language that you wanted?
For what? For the pathway?
Yeah, so,
Well, we have to change what we told them to do in the last meeting. Because we said that it needed to go to the property line.
but are we sure we don't want it to go to the property?
Yes, now, because the county owns that
That lot? but-
lot next to it and says they won't run it. They said they will not run it on the
No,
south.
no, I get that. Well, what if that turns into a perk for the county? I don't know if they're gonna do that.
Or what if we could buy it and turn it into a park? Is that what you meant to say or
I think you mean you buy it, not the council.
no? Okay, so really we could keep the same language. We could have it still go to the property line, but have it be converted, but allow for it to taper from 10 feet to 6 feet once it, like basically once it goes past the roundabout on the Cheshire north side.
I think just so that I make sure that we're all on the same page with that. So what we're thinking, so it's kind of hard to see on this, but the 10-foot path, this is the connection that would be to the north right here. So we're thinking of taking everything this way and making that 6 feet.
Yeah.
That's what you understood?
Yeah.
And just tapering from, you're seeing taper from here.
Taper from here to there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, we're on the
So we're on the
same.
same page.
And then you would still preserve that little stub to the next property is what we're saying. And, but that could be 6 feet.
Okay, yeah, we can do that.
So basically, this layout of this path, exactly as described and exactly as displayed, remains the same. The only difference is that it goes to the 6 feet, and I don't, did you already proactively put that in the text, or is that?
I did not,
Okay.
no.
So that would be the only thing to change with the section, the section 110910C relating to pathways needing to extend to property boundaries. Let's look at the language real quick. The language is fine as it stands, and maybe what we say then is something to the effect of,
So
pathway-
what might make the most sense to change is actually the open space description. Rather than change it, because if we're still continuing that to the edge of the property,
yeah,
then that language could stay the same. But then in, let's see, it's 1109.5, the second paragraph, we basically say that open space A, which is that entire location, has a 10-foot wide multi-use pathway along Hyatt and Cheshire roads and 6-foot internal walking paths. So we changed that language to just include the 10-foot up to the roundabout and then
Yes.
taper it into a 6-foot across Hyatt.
Okay, did I hear 5
Cheshire,
foot somewhere?
Or Cheshire, sorry.
Did I hear 5 foot somewhere?
no, she said 5 foot initially, but it's 6 feet.
Okay,
I keep getting myself confused. But yes, it would be 6 foot.
Okay, can you make that change right now and read it back to us?
Yes,
but write it on something that we can have.
yes, let me.
Do you need a recess?
What was that?
Do you need recess? Do you need time?
To write it, yes.
Okay, so,
Well, do you have anything else that you want to have?
Well, we have public to hear from first.
Yeah, but is there anything else that you?
no, I mean, discussion, but
You have discussion? Do you want to?
well, first we should have public.
Okay, I thought usually we do the board and then the public.
Well, but this is towards going on a vote discussion, not the discussion that I want to
Okay,
change.
got it.
So take that and we'll go to public. Those who would like to speak in favor of the project? Hearing none, I'll go to the public who would like to speak in opposition to the project. It's either for or against, it's not a question.
Are you gonna be taking right away the way for people who live there?
I couldn't hear it. Say it, please.
Well, name, state name.
Yes, name and address for the
Paper Williams, 3077 Wyatt Road, Delaware, Ohio, 43015. That would be someone, I would assume somewhere close to the right of way, if that's the roundabout we're speaking of right here. Okay, how is that gonna impact homeowners if you go into the right of way? Are you gonna be going into homeowners right away or not? Okay,
It would be there, it would be road right away that's on their side.
right away.
If you wanna look at, I probably saw, but if you wanna look at the map, the road right away we're speaking of specifically is Cheshire Road, South Cheshire Road, between the railroad tracks and Pyatt. You come over, you're on Cheshire Road, you go over the railroad tracks on the south of that, that's the parcel, and then it goes around, and that's where the roundabout is, and then it goes down Pyatt, and it's near the Hindu temple, just north of that. And
Do
it
you
runs
have
on-
pictures? Because the only document I've ever gotten in the mail is notification that these houses are homes are gonna be built, which directly impacts taxes as well. I've only gotten one notice in the mail that there's anything being done. You guys send stuff, like more.
Well, so how it works is that people are notified, and there is a file here that the whole public can look at, and that's set in the fiscal officer's office.
Yeah, I was the one that let Delaware know that they were gonna be building those, and people had a lot of questions regarding tax increases, obviously, because, you know, I digress. I'll just-
Oh, you're good, that's fine. We also do, once you get the notice, we also do post, because it goes through the zoning commission first, and then it comes to the trustees. So, on the agenda online on our website, you can get the whole packet, from the zoning commission, and then when we hear it, we also get the packet. So if you look like under, the agenda from when this initially ran, which was a month ago now, or 2 weeks ago, it will say like agenda, and it will have a packet, and then it has all of the material, like everything down from the fire department letters to the visuals. And like I was mentioning, sometimes the font's kind of small, so
Yeah.
I usually blow it up on my screen.
I think a lot of questions just from me being out in public and asking people is taxes. And the tax increases, you know, there's a lot of people that have been living here for a long time. And obviously, when you add homes, you're gonna increase taxes. There's gonna be added people into the schools. So I think a lot of questions from a lot of the elderly folks, who might be on, you know, restricted income is, you know, how is that gonna impact taxes? Are we gonna see that in tax levies, school levies, other township levies that people are gonna be voting on, or is it gonna be, hey, these homes are being built, this is what's gonna happen? I think regarding taxes, that's kind of where the question came from. Thank you, sorry.
Original hearing, this was November 8th.
November 8th.
Special meeting we had on
So
Friday.
the packet will be in the November 8th agenda, you can review more thoroughly.
So we're at opposition. Any one want to speak in opposition? Hearing none, the public portion is concluded on the hearing. You still need more time.
I'm almost done, like a minute more.
And if you need more time, we don't want to rush you because it's a permanent.
Are you ready for me to read this?
Please.
Open space A wraps the west, north, and east property line north of the McKenna Road entrance. Is that New Road?
That's, what,
That's what it's across the.
Major.
Is that what it's gonna, yours is gonna be called?
I think so, as long as the county agrees.
Okay. It contains half of the entry feature. It contains half of the entry feature, a 10-foot wide multi-use pathway along Hyatt Road, which continues north to the roundabout connection. To the west of the roundabout. The 10-foot wide path along Cheshire will taper to a 6-foot wide pathway that extends to the western property line.
Okay. We need a little, in my opinion, need a little, because taper could be tapered in 2 feet section, or it could be 1,000 feet, and that's not defined. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I don't know what it should be, but.
Over 20 feet, how about 20-foot taper? That should look okay, right?
yeah, that would work.
I just want the zoning inspector.
Because it's
to say
going from
yes or
10
no.
feet to 6 feet, so that's every, yeah, that's fine. Mhm. So taper to a 6-foot wide pathway, over a span of 20 feet. Yeah. That works for me.
And do we need to sign?
Does it work for you?
No, somebody needs to sign from.
Sign. He's gotta sign.
Yeah.
Signature and then handwritten,
Is that okay?
and then the date.
Thank you.
Nothing more for me for questions or discussion. Questions.
Okay, so I'll start discussion. I was the one that really wanted that, access road to be a toll road. Because I think it's dangerous what people do going into those, emergency access roads. I know the county finds them insufficient, but I find them troublesome. But they made a good faith effort, so I don't know that we can or should hold up a vote on it based on that, because I don't think that we're gonna win on that with the county.
Yeah,
And if we do win on it, we may hurt ourselves in fighting with the county, because if our goal is for the county to take over all of Hyatt, if we do something that the county doesn't want to enforce that issue, it might not be a wise choice, but that really doesn't have to do with the hearing.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's really, you can't compel the builder to do something that the county says they shouldn't be doing. But I agree with you, and I think even though I do believe I can find exemplars for which the distance is less than 330 feet, they could easily just come back and say that they changed the parameters, and that this is what they're recommending now.
Well, and yes, and that is what I think they would do, because what I find is that the county will say, oh, absolutely no driveways off of a roundabout. and yet they build them that way. So you've got the roundabout on Powell Road, and you've got the one on Pilot, at, Berlin Station, where they would never allow what they allowed to happen. And so it drives me absolutely. Otherwise, I think.
Yeah, I mean, so when we do this analysis, and initially, this area was explored to be converted into a kind of park or something for the township. And what I think that you guys did well is you did integrate open space that is open to the public. It's not a park, obviously, but there is a growing need for, in my view, builders to create diversity of housing, but also to provide the amenities needed for the types of houses that are accommodating to that area. And I do think that this complies with the comprehensive land use plan, which has been in place for quite some time, calls for the 1.85 units per acre. So any resident who's moved into this area for the last number of years would have seen that and been familiar with that. We're not increasing the density at all from our comprehensive land use plan, our zoning resolution. It complies with the safety parameters provided by the county and other entities, especially with that easement. And I also appreciate your thoughtful integration and responses to these 9 concerns here. Because, I know this isn't you guys' first rodeo, but these are things that residents have brought up time and time and time again. And you guys being able to respond to that and have clarity for residents is important. Whether or not the residents got informed appropriately, they got notified of the public hearing notice, and hopefully, they can be directed to the website to see exactly how it's evolved. The first edition is not the last edition, and we've gone through a number of really important changes that have been made to this development plan that I think will balance some of the needs of the community for safe walking routes, open spaces, and a difference in housing types that we have. So this will have tot lot, right? It will have picnic, it will have great paths and circular motion, so there can be active activities. And I think that they have met everything from our zoning resolution, our comprehensive land use plan, and maybe even a little bit more for some of the safety concerns that we have related to the traffic and that kind of thing.
I concur. So at this point, we need to do exhibits. We're up to exhibit 15, will be our next one.
Is that true?
Yes, the last exhibit was 14.
Okay, I'm gonna do. Did you get the same packet we got this packet?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I believe so. Didn't go through it page by page, but I presume it is.
Move to, accept, the cover letter, and all updated documents for revised exhibits for the development text, exhibit C1, C2, C3, or C5, D1, D3, D4, E1, as dated, November 25th, 2024, as exhibit 15, and accompanying PowerPoint as presented on November 25th, 2024 as exhibit 16 with the, with the latter exhibits taking precedence over the former.
Second, moved by trustee Rail, seconded by the chair. Discussion, please call roll.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Rail,
Yes.
Okay, this one needs to be as per.
Yes, yeah. Move to accept, the, open space, change for tapering the roundabout at Cheshire Road from 10 feet to 6 feet wide as per the applicant's request on 11/24/2024.
Just a friendly amendment, it's not the roundabout, it's the path contiguous to the roundabout.
The path, yeah, thank you, path contiguous to the roundabout,
Second, you did say per their request.
for their request, yeah, I did.
Moved by trustee Rail, seconded by the chair, discussion.
I thought this was the date, and that threw me off, but this is the date, just as a.
So what is the 1109.5?
That's the open space text.
Okay. If that could show up in the record so that in the future, people don't get confused.
I can't hear you.
So if the record will show the 1109.5 is not the date, it's the
Right.
Section
citation.
of the text.
In the text, I got it.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Further discussion? Please call the roll.
I didn't get the motion. Is that an exhibit now?
Yeah, exhibit
Exhibit
17,
17.
at the
Sorry.
applicant's request.
Thank you. Rail,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes. So at this time, I think we're ready for,
Yeah, you wanna do that
No.
motion? Okay.
I like to help, I don't like to.
All right, move to approve Seven Hills of Berlin LLC preliminary development plan to rezone parcel 418-310-01047000 farm residential FR1 to plan residential district R3/PRD, and accept with all exhibits, holding the latter taking precedence over the former.
Second. Moved by trustee Rail, seconded by the chair, discussion.
Just please note for the record that this does comply with our comprehensive land use plan and our zoning resolution. And grateful to the applicants for working with the residents and the zoning commission representatives of our residents in advance to make this, maybe it doesn't feel smooth to you, but it's pretty smooth overall for us.
Further discussion. I know that we always concentrate on the things that we have disagreements about, but in general, the plan's very good. And so just like residents don't come here to tell us what a wonderful job we do, the good things we don't point out because they're in there. We don't need to be redundant, but in general, very good. Thank you very much. Further discussion, please call the roll.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Rail.
Resolution passes.
Thank you.
So as you know, 30 days and then,
30 days to referendum with the residents up to, and then,
Can we get a little copy of the signed?
yes.
You don't need to go.
so at this time, let's take a 5-minute recess.
Is it the whole thing or just the back?
Just the back.
So we are recessed for 5 minutes, give or take, subject to the call of the chair.
Yeah.
Are they gonna do a better job of picking up their trash? Cause I was picking it all up and down the streets.
From Maid Meadows.
Yeah, and in my backyard and,
Yeah.
yeah, litter is disgusting. Yeah, it is. And there was a lot of it all summer. Thank you for explaining. It's my first meeting.
I call back to order, the regular meeting of November 25th, 2024. Just to be, clear, we should, end the, hearing. So I can, without objection, adjourn the hearing portion of the meeting on BZC case 24006. Hearing no objections, so ordered. Okay, so
You
that.
need a motion to then close the hearing? Okay.
Only if you objected, and then we'd have to go through that process. Okay, so that takes us to road department, pilot road commercial. I'm not familiar with the commercial. Is that the,
We approved those few things and, they said that we can't restrict it in the deed. So as far as I know, Tony has been speaking to, the attorney, the representation for that builder, and I don't know of any updates to that.
okay, because I would have thought that would have been under zoning, but,
I think it was supposed to, and I wanted it changed a while back, but we just haven't changed it.
okay.
I can do that right now if you'd like.
It kind of doesn't matter, but if you want, it's not an urgent, important item. But yeah, put it under zoning if you wouldn't mind.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Jordan, thank you.
So that takes us to requisitions. I don't have any. Do you have any?
No, I saw an update from our road superintendent. I don't believe it included requisitions. Let me just confirm. Did you have any requisitions? I'm bringing it up now.
He says nothing about requisitions here in the update.
No, yeah,
Okay, so that takes us to flashing crosswalk speed limit sign in subdivisions. Trustee Bullard is absent and has asked me to attend that tomorrow with Doug Riedel and Jesse Peden and Old Tangy Schools.
great.
Unless you would like to attend instead.
No, I think you can do a sufficient job representing the board in that. I did receive a note from our Parks and Trails Advisory Committee indicating that they have been in contact about the grant for those kinds of crosswalks and that they already received a note of support from Olentangy Schools regarding this. So,
Well, they're going to support because they don't want to pay.
right, but just so that if that comes up tomorrow, so that you're aware that the Parks and Trails Committee had been in contact with Olentangy Schools and they already have a letter of support for that
You know who
application.
initiated that?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Do not.
So I will try to move that topic forward,
Please, yeah.
but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah,
That's all I have on that. Do you have anything else?
no.
Okay, that takes us to the discussion of options from Tinktown REA from Doug Riedel. I imagine since Trustee Bullard's here is why he did not attend, but I don't know that for a fact. So we'll need that on the agenda again at our next meeting.
Mhm.
That takes us to Linda Lane. I did get contacted from a resident who had some concerns in regards to the snow plowing and what that will do and the gravel that is on Linda Lane, which I believe is somewhat minimal. But I did talk with Road Superintendent Peden about Linda Lane. And he is wanting to get a bit of an independent view of of what should be done on Linda Lane. And if anything at all. Now, one thing that I've come to understand about Linda Lane that I didn't realize before was that at one point it was paved, but when the original road was put in, there was no real base put, so it was put on dirt. So my understanding is the county is actually the ones that went to the chip and seal for the township, because when you don't have a base, you need some flexibility, otherwise it's gonna crack, because it did crack. And so if you don't spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, up to $1 million, taking that road out and starting all over, chip and seal may be really the only way to deal with it, not because we're trying to save money, but because it needs some flexibility in the actual surface so that it doesn't crack and become.
I heard something similar when I was looking into it, maybe from the same resident, maybe a different resident. Furthermore, if you attempt to put asphalt over chip and seal and you have that cover, the seal cover that they put on to seal those cracks, it can create bubbling effect of the asphalt. And so there's really, just putting asphalt over it just simply is not going to answer the problem. The real problem is the ground base, the dirt base, and then we're just kind of compounding on it. And so the chip and seal may be the best answer given the conditions. But that said, I went to Linda Lane, and I think all of us did at one point. And when I went there, it had been 2 weeks post paving, and the chip and seal was in good condition. It was nice and firm. But where they did the seal crack, the crack sealing, I could still touch it, and it was tacky to the touch. And that was 2 weeks later. I would be interested to know if it did harden, because Road Superintendent Pena mentioned that it just needed time to cool, and it was in the dead heat of summer that it was done. It wasn't the hottest point of summer. So I would be interested to see how that came out. And I believe I asked him if he would do a test run again. And I don't know. He might have done it, and I just didn't see the results.
Well, I think that, I don't know if it was specific to that, but he has been paying a lot of attention to Linda Lane. And so we just need him to report on it.
Yeah, well, he sent pictures for tonight. But I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't know, because there's no description. It just says see attached, and it has pictures of the road. And then it says, I'm sending the county a request to give independent assessment of Linda Lane. Jeff and I drove it today and saw no issues. I'll be sending follow-up with the ICS we took today. So we'll continue to monitor. Were you recently contacted by a resident? Oh, okay.
And they were concerned about what will happen when they snowplow.
They weren't necessarily concerned about the current condition of the road.
No, but you could tell where, no, I'm going to make an assumption, so I'm not going to.
Okay, sounds good.
But I had said that because trustee Bullard is normally in charge of that and not here, I said I wanted to bring it up at tonight's meeting so that we could have a discussion on it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Anything else on Linda Lane?
No,
Cemetery, evergreen fence removal repair.
that would be trustee Bullard.
So we'll keep that on the agenda for the next meeting. Same thing with Sexton duties, unless you have something about that.
No, I would like for Mr. Ford to attend our meeting and go through those duties prior to our organizational meeting. Because that's when we need to ensure that the scope of responsibilities and the monetary compensation and any other types of compensation will need to be defined for that next year.
So that's either the next meeting or the meeting after that, is that, well, no, it's really the next
It's really the
meeting.
next meeting.
The next meeting after that is,
Is,
well, we have a meeting before the organization, which is the closing meeting, but we open right up in the organizational meeting, so that's really. Okay, fiscal officer items payment list. Now, I do have that list. Do we want to hold on, 32581 for the 56,000, or do we want to move forward on it?
I wouldn't want to pay it until we have confirmation of the few outstanding items that were done, right? Replacing the rotting, what was it?
No, I thought they did replace it.
That's done, that's included. I think there were some other punch list items. I've never seen a punch list, but I just don't know that the punch list is done. Mr. Burmaster wants his money.
Yeah, well, and I actually get that, because he's actually had to pay for all the siding himself out of his own pocket until, the supplies, so he's been out for a period of time.
Yeah, we can replace it if the changes have been done. We just want to make sure everything is.
Well, the only thing that I heard was the lights aren't working, but that really isn't him, is it?
I don't think.
Are the shutters up?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, we can go ahead and pay it.
Okay, but I do notice that warrant 78 and 80 is not listed in this, so were there a couple of voids?
I voided a couple, yes.
Okay, so I get that. So I move that we approve the positive pay file report dated 11/22/2024 at 6:42 p.m. Warrants number 32564 through 32577 inclusive, 32579, and 32581 through 32583 inclusive, for an amount of $86,256.08.
Second.
And my apologies for giving the agenda the wrong date.
That's
I'm
okay.
making a list.
Moved by the chair, seconded by trustee Rail. Discussion?
Just to note, this is a little bit a higher price than our standard, but it's because the Worthington construction 56,000 was to replace the siding that was damaged by the storm, as well as a few other items that were damaged. And insurance will be paying for this,
We'll be paying for most of this.
for most of it.
There is a deductible, of course.
Yeah.
Further discussion?
The Orange Township payment, is that for the mutual aid services related to the storm as well?
No, that's.
Fire truck, okay. So we haven't gotten an invoice from Orange to pay?
We do.
We do have an invoice from Orange to pay.
It's attached. There was actually two. There were two invoices. One was small, just a couple $100. The other was for the brakes.
Were they put into one warrant?
Oh, were they put into one?
Yes.
check? Oh,
Okay.
got it. That's all.
Okay, moved by the chair, seconded by trustee Rail. Discussion, please call roll.
Rail,
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Go ahead and send a check to Mr. Burmaster.
Yeah.
That I shall.
Okay, that takes us to legislation to establish permanent improvement fund in the UAN 4300 range.
Having not heard back from the legislative services, local government services at the auditor's office, I followed up with them. And got a promise to have a fund by the next meeting.
Well, good.
I said what I said. Yeah,
she said, well, I'm sorry, I didn't get back to you yet, we had some schools issues, and I said, okay. But we're running out of time here, do you need that?
Yes, you need to close the books,
Yes, I
otherwise
do.
you're not gonna be able to close the books. If you can't open the books and people not getting paid, they won't be happy. Yeah. That takes us to appropriation for legal services, tower co litigation.
The Reinhardt Legal Services, Chris Reinhardt sent us a bill for $2,240. The purchase order for Tower Co. Is down to about 300.
So we have enough to pay for what we have spent, but we need for moving forward, is that what you're saying? Okay.
No, we need a purchase order to pay this.
We only have a few hundred.
Let me get you the exact number here.
So is any of that for BZA?
No,
Okay, so it's a then and now.
No, you can.
How much?
Well, so with this, I'm delighted that we have had the federal case dismissed.
Yes.
But now we are going to have to enter into the state case.
Yes.
So, and this state case is, it's paramount to ensuring that corporations not engaged in non-school activities do not get immunity from township zoning.
Well, I would just put it more bluntly, it's to enforce our zoning resolution.
Yeah.
So that people,
So I would probably say 15,000.
I don't think that's gonna be enough, so I'll do 20.
Okay.
So I move that we approve appropriations to Reinhardt Legal Services, is that what it's called? For an amount of $20,000 and also included then and now. Purchase order for a portion of that for the purpose of legal fees for zoning.
Second.
Moved by the chair, seconded by trustee Rail. Discussion? Please call the roll.
Rail,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
I was wondering if we shouldn't specify the cell tower because we also engage him with BZA services and zoning could be broad enough to be interpreted.
Well, this way it gives the fiscal officer some
Latitude.
flexibility, but that being said, fiscal officer Jordan, you do keep it separated so that if we get our legal fees reimbursed, that's
yes,
easily tracked.
yes, there are two separate purchase orders.
Okay.
There's one purchase order for Calico, there's one purchase order for BZA representation. The BZA representation purchase order still has something like $8,000 or $10,000.
Anything else for fiscal office?
No,
Trustee items protocol related to state mandated fraud training.
let me back up. Trustee Rail brought up the financial transaction RFP. I can give you a story of where we are real quickly if you'd like. I have skimmed through the materials. I spent a good couple hours, an hour with Jerry today, with Mr. Valentine today. And he has been very helpful. He did a lot of the legwork on finding some of this information. I've got a little bit more left a couple more questions that I want answered. I think I know what recommendation I'm gonna make, and I'm gonna make it at the next meeting. Is this something that I do verbally, or is this something the trustees would like in writing beforehand?
I think if we're going to consider this a resolution, it should be in writing, so that we have the resolution so that it's easy for you to implement.
Okay.
Well, so I have a concern here though with waiting for another 2 weeks because you've had it for almost a month now. And this is a tool for our residents to be able to pay online that we have been trying to set up. And you inherited a little bit of a problem too, because we had to go through this process. But you're now holding up the process of us being able to implement and wanting to get it done by the end of the year.
Do you want to answer it? The answer is that last week I put in a 72-hour week between my
No,
two jobs.
I'm not-
What I was doing was doing things like paying our employees. We had a situation where we had to do the back pay and.
You're not paying the employees for over 30 days, and I asked you to prioritize this last meeting because it's important for the residents to move forward. So I'm not saying that you're not working hard, you're not doing your job. We all do a lot of work. I put in 72-hour weeks very frequently as well. But I asked you last meeting to please put that on the agenda. You confirmed it was on the agenda. It's not on the agenda. And it's been over a month now that we've had this recommendation. We have somebody sitting there waiting to implement who's going to go away in January. And I don't know that we're going to be able to launch this implementation and provide the service to the residents. So I just want you to be aware of the implications of the cascading effect, because I did request that you please be prepared for this meeting and requested that it be on the agenda. And now the residents didn't see it on the agenda. And now I have Jerry sitting there for another 2 weeks. So it's not an impunity on you or your work ethic or what's getting done. It's more about, this is a priority. This is a priority to me for the residents, and I like to ensure that it's being taken seriously. When I don't give you those things very much, I don't say this is a priority very often. And I just want to ensure that moving forward, if we say that there's a priority and there's a deadline, that we are on the same page, that it gets on the agenda, that it's taken seriously, and that we can move forward. Now, thankfully, there's not a lot of those items that you have to go through a 100-page document and then make a recommendation. So this is a little bit of a one-off. But I want just to make that note of fact, because it's not on the agenda now, and we could bring it up as a late item, or you can bring it up here. But I definitely want there to be some care taken to those kinds of things moving forward.
I absolutely do care about it, and the reason why is there is another priority. Priority is avoiding getting a grievance from the fire department for not paying them their back pay that's been sitting there for a while too.
Sure, but it's a 30-day period that you have the information, so I get that 1 week the fire department is priority, or 1 week the payroll is priority, but this is also a priority.
There's also 8 new employees in the fire department. And of those two, I've got me,
I mean, Jen, I could give you a list of the 25 items I went through in the last 2 weeks. I'm not saying you're not doing your job. You're doing a great job overall. I'm saying the priority, I gave this to you, I said it, you told me it was on the agenda, and it's not on the agenda, and now here we are, and we don't need to use any more township time. I just want to ensure that this comes forward, this gets done this year, so that our residents can start processing payments online, doing permitting in the way that they want. If they want to come in, they can do that. If they want to pay online and pay the fee, they can do that. But we have the options available to manage the growth of our township, so that our office is not processing, 200 permits in a month using paper and manual, but we'll say 20th century technology.
Well, 2010 maybe.
2010
So,
technology.
that takes us to protocol related to state mandated fog training.
Yeah, this is a little bit of a follow-up too. So, Jenna, our township specialist, did put together a Word document. Did you have the chance to review it? Did you have a chance to review it?
I did not.
So, but if you guys are good with it, could you add this document to the new hire packet? This is
Yes.
this is important
Yes.
to ensure compliance for state mandated fraud training, and I think it will be good for all new employees. Do you have any recommendations?
I think it's fine.
We don't even need to vote on it, we just can have consensus to add it.
I still have a question whether this replaces what we were doing before, what the state auditor state had us do before, or is it added?
It's additive because, so this is for only new employees for their packet. And now moving forward, all employees within 30 days have to complete it. So we might as well have it in their packet and then we give them that information as opposed to like you or me having to email them individually and do it. But you'll still keep the spreadsheet, the master spreadsheet. And let me just make certain if it's not already on there, I will make certain to clarify on that document to send the certificate to the fiscal officer.
On the document.
On the document Jenna did. So I'll make that as a note to ensure that so that way you don't have to send a notification. They already have it and they need to get it to you within 30 days. And if they don't,
I'm sorry. Question I had was what we were already doing before the auditor of state did this last summer. The auditor of state had a 20-page document that everybody has to read and then sign a receipt for. The question I had was, did this replace that, or are we doing both, signing off on the 20-page document and watching the video?
it's both.
It's both, okay.
Until they do an opinion that is redundant.
Or until they add a third thing that will replace one.
That's probably the most likely. Very good point.
So what you have already is good, but this is additive to that.
Got it.
Okay, so that takes us to natural disaster mutual aid for townships. I don't have anything new on that. Do you have anything new?
No, I
Do we need to keep this on the agenda?
Trustee Bullard had it on there, so let's leave it on until he
Okay.
removes it.
I agree. Public records questions.
This was to be removed from the agenda from last meeting.
Okay, Delaware County 2024 multi-hazard mitigation plan.
That is a trustee Bullard item, but I believe one of the items that I had was a security assessment, and that portion is complete.
So
We're secure.
should we continue to keep this on?
Trustee Bullard can take it off.
Okay, understood. TIF, Alvarez and Alvarez. Do we need an executive session on this?
Let me see. I actually don't think there's any update from our last meeting, so I'm not sure that we do.
Okay, so, but I would like to keep this on the agenda
Yeah.
it's very important when they do get back with us.
Yeah, there's no updates at this time, but we'll keep it on.
So you mentioned IT security assessment, anything additional on that?
No, that can come off the list. I will say with the county, services, I did introduce, what was the gentleman's name?
Steve Lewis?
Steve Lewis to ClearPoint Technology. Todd, who did the cameras for both places. And, I was not, Todd wrote back to Steve and Steve did not write back to copy me on it. So I don't know if Steve and Todd have been speaking to each other, but that would be good to make certain. Let's see, let me just confirm here. Let me see here. Yeah, I connected them on the 12th, and I heard back from Todd, and then I haven't heard back from Steve regarding this.
So what did Todd say?
He sent the proposal for our technology upgrades, proposing to remove all existing network equipment from the storage closet room and meeting hall and upgrading the whole system to a unified system. All the features of the unified system. Ensure new cabling is pulled, access points are installed strategically, unify hardware's programmed to coordinate, and authorize township personnel are trained on the system. They can also provide on-site or remote support at any time during normal business hours. So, Todd sent them what I was going to do. We have a quote of the technology upgrades, and you wanted to make certain, as we should, that it aligned with what the county was planning to do. So, that's what their discussions should be. Then I put him in contact with,
Now, Todd is ClearPoint, right?
Yep.
And ClearPoint is our telephone or is our cameras?
cameras. Then I put Steve in contact with,
So, before you
Yeah.
move on, so what is it that ClearPoint wants to do that we need done?
so basically, I mean, basically all of our stuff is in one room where there's some other HVAC items and things like that. For lack of a better way of putting it, it's like rigged together. It's a bunch of old technology rigged together on a single server, and there is backup that's being done on the important pieces of data, but it's very old. And if we are experiencing bandwidth issues, and we will continue to experience bandwidth issues, we've resolved them temporarily with these router placements. But the unified system would allow it so that all of our systems are on one component piece and accessible in the same way that our cameras are. I sent the quote like months and months ago.
Yeah, I'm not understanding what it means.
Yeah.
I mean, I can read it, but I don't know what it means.
Yeah. It changes everything. It changes our servers, our backup, our
Well, but
software.
our servers will be from the county,
Right.
so they don't need to provide a server.
But the point is the county server, so there might be different types of services that the county can and cannot give us. Like, for example, in Genoa, they switched over to a like very clunky permitting system that the county utilizes, but it's not the best product. So I'm looking at it from a compatibility standpoint. What can we do to have it rely on the county, but then also have our own system of technology and support in place? For example, do we want to just have the county do all IT support services moving forward? They may not even do that.
Well, that is what I was sort of anticipating.
No, because the county, I mean, they would work with the county. It goes through the county. But when you're talking about, like, we have to put in a work order to have the county fix something when it goes down, I didn't envision the county being at that, like, a level, IT support level like that.
But they can.
And if they're the right price, they will. And if they
Well,
provide the right service, they can.
remember that quote that we approved a long time ago, although it was not yet official, it was the proposed. They didn't give us the price exactly until we actually connected, but it included a lot of that. And so I just don't want to have duplicative services being.
No, I don't want duplicative either, but I don't want delayed.
No,
And I don't know, they have never
Who
been,
did?
the county has never been very specific about what exact services that they were providing. When we approved that, we approved fiber, getting connected in and being on the county network.
well, but there was a side agreement too, and not a side agreement, but a second agreement as well. That delineated it, because I told the county that I didn't want to do all this and then not have what was going to happen in the future. So it's detailed as to what they'll do.
Send it to me again, because maybe I'm not remembering it, or maybe, because I don't remember them saying that they'll provide like level 1's IT support, for example.
I'll send it to you.
Okay.
But it's gonna take me a while, because my.
Like, I remember everything with the fiber. I remember them saying that they would work with us. I don't remember them saying
Wow.
what the detail, what you're saying.
There's a fairly lengthy details, but it's not agreed to until we agree to it, if you recall, because even the fiscal officer couldn't sign off. She couldn't sign off on it because we didn't know the cost. And so they wouldn't do an agreement without
Yeah, okay, I'm remembering this similarly. We never agreed to it, they didn't give us the cost, and we don't know what exact services that they're providing.
But the framework of,
I'm open to it. If it's the best price and it's the best way to go about doing it, 100%.
okay, so let me take some time.
Yeah.
And get that to you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that, but I also don't want to be in a position where
I get it.
you get what I'm saying.
Because it's useless to have something that you can't use.
Or that you have to wait, and we're not priority and,
Well, and there was, okay, because I do remember priority. And that was if there was a catastrophic event, the county came first. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I remember that part very well, and that's what I did not like about it.
Yeah, but
Because think about the tornado, for
I
example.
get it. I get it. And so did they. I mean, that's why they put it in there, because they were agreeing to what they really would do, and that's what I appreciated.
Yeah. But I'm not gonna sit there and wait for them, that's where I feel like we need to have our own,
Well,
potentially.
But here's more what I would think, and I don't know if the service exists, is in that catastrophic event. It's kind of like reinsurance, if there's such a thing, where they are there for us if the county can't be.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not the level, I don't know how the leveling system is,
Yeah.
but they're not actually doing it, but they're there in reserve as a backup, and the fee would be much less than if they were
Yeah.
actually doing it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that kind of service exists.
Yeah. It definitely does, yeah. I think, and we're much closer than I thought we were about 5 minutes ago. So, yeah, I mean, I don't want to be left in the lurch, and I believe that I said that exact same thing at the time.
And I get that.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to have duplicative,
Yeah.
but I also don't want them to fight each other. Because, it's like
Yeah.
where you have virus protection, and if you have two, they fight each other and they're saying it's incompatible and everything shuts down. I don't want
Right.
that to happen.
Right, and well, so, I mean, the cameras are already up, we already have that system in place, So I already envisioned, and I mean, the smart board and microphones and all of this was done through ClearPoint, so I envisioned those guys working together and like figuring out what is the solution for the township. And if Steve comes back and says, no, this is what we use and this is what we're gonna install, we'll go with that. And then Todd will just maintain the cameras.
So I will get you the information that I'll get you. But then you, at the next meeting, if you will, please tell me what I need to do, if
Yeah.
I need to do something.
Yeah, that's fine, and I'll follow up.
Because I
with
don't
Steve.
want us both sitting back waiting for each other.
Yeah.
Because I want this to actually happen.
Yeah, me too, thank you. Yeah, so what I'll do is, I'll take an action item here to follow up with, Steve again and just ensure that we understand, and then if you could just send me that document. I might even ask for further clarification from him.
Well, maybe phrase it as an update, because.
Yeah.
Because it was not a final. It was,
Yeah,
it was enough that they couldn't back out of doing what they said they would do, but there were caveats in there that you
would like
and the board
further,
didn't like.
would like further clarification on or expansion on.
Okay, anything else on that?
No,
Okay, request for permission to open cut Brookview Manor Drive, if we can keep that on the agenda for the next time, because I believe trustee board wanted that on. RFP for joint waste and recycling contract. I will tell you that I spoke with Assistant Prosecutor Stocko in regards to this. I don't know if you had an opportunity to talk to him.
no.
Okay, so my understanding is this. There are exceptions that the provider, Rumpke, put in the proposed response to the bid.
Mm-hmm,
There were 7 of them.
mm-hmm.
And my understanding is they sort of, no, not sort of, they did do that with, 3 townships to our south.
Mhm.
And apparently, our attorneys, assistant prosecutor and one other attorney, I don't know who the second one is. I don't know if that's from Berkshire Township or if it's someone at the prosecutor's office. There's 2 attorneys. And so there are 2 sets of attorneys at Rumpke. And one said, we never do these contracts without these sudden exceptions. And the other attorney wasn't as adamant about that. And my understanding is that they tried this with the 3 townships to the south, and they reversed themselves on those 7 exceptions. So they can't say, we never do these contracts without these 7 exceptions, because they did it to us out. What I believe, what Rumpke's, their 2 attorneys, and I may have this all wrong, but this is my understanding, is that they will no longer do these kinds of contracts for people who have not had it in the past. But if they've had it in the past, there's exceptions to that. So his recommendation, assistant prosecutor Stockholm doesn't really give recommendations. I said, well, what would you do? And he said, well, I would kind of recommend that you hold off at this meeting. And I said, well, we tabled it, so we need to pull it off the table. And he said, well, the ORC takes precedence over Robert's Rules of Order. But so this is what I want to do, if the board is so inclined, is to pull from the table and then table it again to our next regular meeting or a special meeting, if that should occur, and with 24-hour notice, so that we can take action. But I don't really want to accept these 7 exceptions when we might not have to.
Okay. I'm
So-
fine with that.
So I move to pull from the table in the matter of the joint waste and recycling contract.
Second.
It's been moved by the chair, seconded by trustee Rail. Please call roll.
Real,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes, so it has been pulled from the table. I move to table the joint waste and recycling contract to our next regular meeting or a special meeting with 24-hour notice.
Second.
It's been moved by the chair, seconded by trustee Real. Discussion? Please call the roll.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Real,
Yes.
So the next item we have is significant monetary donation. I believe trustee Ford was working on that. Does anybody have anything additional on
Not at this
it?
time.
So if we can keep that on the agenda for next item, next meeting. Next item is the JED options. I'm not really,
We can talk, there's not really any updates from our last conversation. I took what we had, discussed in executive session to our council, and, as far as I know, things are still being discussed with property owners for the possibility of, JED creation, TIFs, and those kinds of things.
excellent. Anything else in regards to JED options?
No.
That takes us to zoning department, 6-time transfer.
That's for executive session, and that was to be changed from sick time transfer to, I think it was, time for an employee to consider.
Or we make it compensation.
I liked the title I had, I just don't remember what it was, but it's no longer sick time, because that's been resolved, so you can remove that from the agenda and put whatever I had sent, to have in there, on there,
did you email?
twice. But it's still for executive session anyway.
Okay, so do you want to do that now or at the end?
Let's do it.
Okay, anything else for zoning?
Yes, we have, I'll do this later.
Old business, evergreen tree signs, donation and rules update, I believe that's trustee Board's item. Township administrator updates.
Executive.
Access management plan, I believe is trustee Board's, anything additional?
No, but if, you know, some of these items I don't want to have in perpetuity. So that we either need to have something to take action on or,
Well, the management plan does need action, but I don't know when, so I don't know if it needs to be on the next meeting, but it needs to be on.
we'll keep it, yeah, and we'll have a conversation with trustee Bullard on this. But there's a lot of these plans that, I don't know, they've been on here for months and months, but I am not aware of any action that has been taken or any action that needs to be taken.
Well, I know that one needs, but I don't know when.
Yeah, okay.
Collective bargaining agreement posted website, I have not received the date time stamped copy.
I have not either, and I've asked twice.
Yes, fiscal officer Jordan, have you received it?
I have not.
I'll follow up again. Future meetings. I just have the one tomorrow that I mentioned earlier in regards to the crosswalks. Any other future meetings? That takes us to late items.
Okay, for late items, we have, iWork. We had already approved the additional, so iWork is our permitting software. We've already approved the addition of increasing our storage and allowing us to basically backdate and keep accurate record of all permits. So
When you say backdate, you don't really mean backdate the permit, you mean go
back
back.
scan.
Backscan.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So historical scanning, getting everything converted into the system. The model that we had doesn't permit for that, but they did have, for a fee, the ability to expand those services out. So it comes to $1,650
Do you have a motion?
a year.
A year to do it? Is it something that we can do?
Prorated for this year.
That we can do, and then once we have all the records into the system, no longer continue to do that?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Because I get that okay, let me put it this way. I don't mind doing it, but I mind that, let's say we no longer want to use iWork. I want to have access to what we put into iWork.
But yeah, and I agree with you on that. But if we no longer want to do iWork, you would have to have a migration plan. So let's say we chose one product over iWork.
Well, let's say they go out of business.
Okay, so I guess I'm having a little bit of a difficult time understanding what you're.
Well, I know at the county,
Mhm.
Especially with 911, we had this great software.
Mhm.
Well, but then you had to toggle, and it was a nightmare because you toggle one thing on and one thing off, and we fought with each other. And then there was new software. Well, then all of a sudden, the company no longer existed. It got bought out, they phased that product out. What are you left with?
Mhm. I mean, isn't that true of many software?
Well, yeah, but what I want to say is I want to be able to access the information as they go away.
When we resolved this when we adopted them initially, they do a daily backup of our work. And they have reports, so we could pull any of these reports at any time out of the system.
So if we no longer continue the contract, we can still do that.
We would have to export all of our data, just like we would for any software, but we can do that.
Okay.
It's a matter of can versus,
Want to.
yeah.
And I'm not saying I want to do this, but what I don't want to be is held hostage if we.
This is an addendum to the 3-year contract we signed. And yes, you can, the 2 questions that I got resolved were, can we bind a future board to payment, right? If the future board didn't want to use it in year 2 or 3. And the answer is yes to that. That was-
3 years.
Yeah, that was the answer to
Yes,
that.
3 years.
So we already are in contract with iWork. We
Yeah.
already have all of the things that you were saying, like the backup, the choosing not to go with it, those kinds of things have already been resolved.
Okay.
The only thing that we're doing here is we're adding services into it.
Yeah, and I don't really have a problem with that as long as we don't have to pay for this in the future if we've got everything already migrated, or not migrated, but.
Well,
Completely.
it's not only, you're paying for the unlimited storage one, basically. The resolution, it's called the OpenStreetMap. So you pay for the software to help with violations and permitting. You have an expansion on the contractor and licensing. So we'd like to see the proposals for zoning end up coming through iWork. It has the resident side, the resident portal for them to log in and do their online permitting and paying their fee through there.
I don't have a problem with any of that. It was just so it's not a separate thing for all these services, including the going back.
Including, yeah.
It's all in one package.
Yes, and what I'm saying
Okay, so
is
the
you
motion-
don't get rid of the service.
I understand.
Okay.
That it can't be segregated, so, okay.
I mean, theoretically, it could be segregated and we could get $16.50 off, maybe. But we'd have to then, if we end up using anything within it,
I get it.
we'd have to make sure that, you know.
And I'll be gone when you have to come to that.
Well, and we may have to, if we don't need, like, my thing is we're paying for software and products. We like similar with the electronic transfer device. We've done all the work, we're paying for a product, and we have not implemented this, and now it's over a year later.
I get it.
So, all right, let's see. So, do you want me to approve the money and then have me execute the associated documents? Did you have the chance to review this at all,
Yeah.
the second amendment? Okay.
But when you approve the appropriations, you need to do it for, basically, it's for prorated this year and next year.
It's prorated for this year.
But you want to do the appropriations for both,
For,
for this year and next year. When are you going to cut off all, spending?
I have no idea. I'm guessing about December 15th.
If you want to go that late, that's up to you, but that means you really, I would recommend you do it a little before that, because what's gonna happen is they're gonna spend it. You're not gonna get that information and you can't close the books.
And we have a meeting on the 9th. I can write, checks dated the 10th and call it the 10th.
I think that would be, I would recommend the 9th and send it out, and that way it has to be here. So,
Okay, yeah, call it the 9th and,
and then you can,
Right.
you can do it, but they can't do it. So I would highly recommend you send it out in all forms, bulletin, basically, to everybody, that all spending has to get to you by the 9th. Other than that, can you debate unless it's an emergency? And if it's an emergency, they need to tell you, not go through a lot of time. So, I'm sorry, I'm
Oh, you're right.
digressing, but I think that's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I would do for both so that he can write the PO for that time frame, because then he can pay for it, or you can keep the PO open for up to 12 months, but do you know exactly how much it'll be? That'll make it easier for him.
No, I don't, because I don't know what the prorated for 1650 for this year will be. But I wanted to appropriate 16 up to 1650. We already have the appropriation for the contract in place. This is in addition to that.
Right.
I want to approve up to 1650, recognizing that it's a prorated amount for this year. It won't be prorated next year, though. Because we'll have it for the full year.
Can I recommend 1650 plus what you think this, I mean, let's say 1/6 of the year, so 1/6 of 1650 is about
You want to
$375.
hear, right? I can't hear you.
Okay, so I would do 1650 plus $375 is what I would do, and then if it's over, he can close the PO.
Why wouldn't I do it for the 1650 prorated? Leave it at that.
Well, because they're gonna, when are they gonna want the payment for the next year? I would think they'd want it right away.
Mm-hmm. Well, why don't I just then do 2000?
That's about
But what if-
1650
but-
plus 375.
But what if it
Is
puts
that-
it at 2200 or
Well, that's
something?
what I'm saying, I think it's gonna be closer to 2025.
Yeah,
Do 2100.
yeah.
I recommend.
All right, move to appropriate $2,100 for the purposes of this iWork service agreement, a second addendum between the Board of Township Trustees and iWork Systems Inc. for iWork application services. And to have trustee Rail authorized to execute any associated documents associated with the second amendment, second addendum.
Second, moved by trustee Rail, seconded by chair, discussion. Please call the roll.
Rail,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes, any other late items?
Let me see.
can I jump in here real quick? I've got an email that says, Jeff, could you update the time from sick time transfer employee pay ? I don't know what that means. What do you want me to put on the,
From sick time.
Jeff, could you update
Yeah,
the time?
from sick time to, so I wanted to say transfer employee pay.
Okay, that's what it will say.
Great, thank you.
So any other late items before we go into executive session?
Yes. There is a, building that the zoning inspector has been looking at, and the county has, I'm looking at this right now. And the county has provided, the Department of Building Safety has visited the site, and the property was inspected under Ohio Revised Code Section 50586, removal, repair, and securance of insecure, unsafe building or structures. They indicated that the structures are dilapidated and in serious state of disrepair. Roof systems of both structures have failed and are allowing water intrusion into the buildings. The buildings are at the beginning stages of structural failure. Subcontractors are also insecure and an attractive nuisance. Based on the conditions noted during the inspection on October 24, the building official's determination is that the structures are a nuisance and should be remediated and removed. We received that letter from the county in regards to a property on Berlin Station Road. The zoning inspector would like to follow the protocol for declaring a nuisance, which would be on behalf of the board would have to do that. And then the basically the township would secure the safe removal of the structures and then would bill it to the property, put it on the property taxes for the.
So is that taking a unanimous vote?
Let's see.
Because that would be an assessment.
Yeah, it would be assessed. Yeah.
And if it's, okay, there are two different kinds of unanimouses. There's one that's unanimous board that is in, attendance, and then there's unanimous of the whole body.
Mhm.
And so that gets tricky. I'm not comfortable with doing that with two of us.
Yeah, and we are not gonna take action tonight because I don't have a resolution or recommendation from the
Okay.
zoning inspector, but I want you to be aware that this is coming.
And I read that, so I am in agreement. I just want to be I'm in agreement if the board is unanimous, of a board of three.
Yeah, that's fine. And then, so I'll send this to you all because this is something that we'll probably need to have some action taken for next meeting. So, Mr. Jordan, if you wouldn't mind adding under zoning for next meeting, structural damage to building. I don't want to say it's a nuisance because we might not be in agreement that we should take action as a nuisance.
Understood. But you're gonna have to explain when we come to the item, because I know what's on the
Yeah.
Building on Berlin Station Road?
No, don't identify the street. It's structural damage, building structural damage.
Building structural damage.
Okay, I have one late item, and it's zoning related too, and that is, what I believe would be a zoning violation, of a sign. I know, they deal with signs all the time, but this sign I think is dangerous. So if you go to, the roundabout from Pyatt Road north to Berlin Station Road,
Mm-hmm.
there's oftentimes a sign that has an M and an arrow pointing.
Mm-hmm.
That arrow is pointing the wrong direction for people to turn on the roundabout.
Mm.
And so, one, it's not on the property of the owner of the sign. Two, it's in the road right of way. And three, it's a danger because it's showing people to go the wrong direction.
I'm sorry, I haven't noticed this sign. So if you're on Pyatt and you're going north and you see it,
In the roundabout by the high school.
Berlin Station Road.
And it's a sign that you can, well, and oftentimes when it's
It's not
not,
MI with an arrow, it's M.
well, maybe there's an I that I don't really identify. But it looks like they're M. So maybe there's an I there that I'm not seeing. But it's a sign that it's got like a chain. So they oftentimes during non-business hours will lay it down.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless, I think it's dangerous to have an arrow sign pointing the wrong direction on the roundabout.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I have a note, so I'll have zoning staff take a look at it.
Okay, because it's not like a nuisance or irritation, zoning sign problems, but to me, it's a danger thing. So I didn't really know if it should be a zoning thing or a roads thing. But the problem if it's a roads thing, it's county roads, so, the roundabout is in their purview. And it's really in the roundabout.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, I'll take care of that, or I'll have the staff check into that. Because I had sent some of this stuff a while ago, so I did have the OTA reimbursement as well. I don't think we need to take any action on that, but I did want to, do you have everything that you need for the check on that, Jeff?
Believe so, yeah. It was $230, right?
Yeah, but minus, the one session, the casino night.
Okay.
So I'm paying for that out of my pocket. So it's the invoice has the individual events.
I've got it.
Okay. And then you mentioned big ticket items for the budget. Can we have that on the do you have enough time to have that on the fiscal officer items for next meeting?
Do my best. I have heard back from the fire department and, we'll hear back from the roads department. So I think we're in pretty good shape.
Well, roads, I was anticipating, and I am hopeful that it is fairly significant. I've asked Superintendent Peden to actually go back and use some of the county analysis of what roads cost to repair over a period of time. We do cost accounting, but I noticed that at the county level, it's cost accounting, except for some roads, they do accrual method. And so I was a little bit taken aback by that, but it actually makes sense because you know that these roads we're gonna get hit with a huge multi-million dollar road cost when these subdivisions, all the roads deteriorate at the same time. So we're collecting taxes over a period of time, but we're not putting money into a capital fund.
Right.
And I think we should, because we know that they will need repaired and it will hit us all at once. So I think we need to account for that. And so I asked him to not make up numbers, to go to the county and look at the life expectancy of various roads. And then, you know, you can't do it for an infinite period of time. But over a period of time that's fairly, like 10 years. What is it? And he said it's gonna be more than you will want to put in there. But I want to have the number and then I want to put some money into a capital improvement for roads.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
But I don't know if he's done that.
Have I done that? No.
No. It's
Jesse.
just for the.
Oh, Jesse looked into it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll have the budget, the big ticket items on next agenda. I did send something on the 12th, Jeff, to have added to the agenda related to Sycamore Trail. And let's go on ahead and add that to the agenda at this time. I sent it on November 12th at 7:27.
At where? Zoning department?
Oh, add it where? Yeah, let's,
I
this
don't want to
is
go into it, but what's the topic? Is it roads?
in regard, granted,
Sidewalks?
we along with our neighbor granted the developers a sewer easement in exchange for certain conditions to be met, one of which was a high concentration of pine trees on the mound for privacy. So developers filed bankruptcy, didn't deliver on this. It's a zoning thing.
So I didn't really want to talk about that, but I will a little bit. So is it really a zoning thing or is it a civil thing that they agreed to, or was it in the zoning when we rezoned it?
That's what we need to talk about.
Okay,
Yeah.
because if it's in the rezoning, it's enforceable by us. If it was an agreement by the two of them, that's not a part of the zoning, we have nothing to do.
That's right. That's right. But I wanted it on this night's agenda so that we could explore exactly what you were saying together.
But we're gonna have to really research.
No, but we're gonna have to research a little bit. We'll see. So would you call it Sycamore Trail?
Sycamore Trail is on the zoning department, under zoning. How do you spell Sycamore? SYCAMORE?
Yes.
Looks wrong, but that's what I thought.
Yeah, that's right.
It looks funny, but.
And then, could you also do a Parks and Trails Committee update on the next one as well?
Under zoning,
Just do it under, trustee items.
Parks and Trails Committee report.
Update.
Parks and Trails Committee update. put a U in front of that, Jeff. Okay,
And yeah, it says, they're working on this SRTS again this year, implementing safer crosswalks, including lighting signage and higher visibility items to improve safety and connectivity in the areas surrounding Berlin High, Middle, and Cheshire Elementary. We understand that there is no funding for trail maintenance at this time, so we will be sure to make that known. We have already received letters of support from the school district, the Pines HOA, and have requested updated letters from Scott Sanders, as well as Morpsey. We are requesting the letter by December 1st if possible. Oh, I didn't see that one. So, I had sent the letter last year, as you know, this is from last year. And I can send the same letter again.
So will you send that to me?
Yeah.
That email? So, or forward it to me so it gets the attachments.
Yeah.
But that's what you were referring to before when they had approached or they had talked together about the crosswalks, but that's more than the crosswalks.
I mean, this is a continuation of an application that was started a year ago.
Yeah, but I'm saying when you mentioned earlier when I was going to talk with Old Andrew, you said that.
Yeah, this is what I was saying, but
Okay.
yeah. But it's, the lighting, what they mean is the sign for the crosswalk. It's all the crosswalk from Preston Field Drive to
Okay.
the school. When I say lighting, I think they mean the flashing lights and the things that we've generally been privy to, especially if we don't have to pay for it or maintain it.
Amen.
So, yeah, I'll forward this to you. I guess I didn't realize it would be December 1st if possible, so, do you want me to just update this letter that I sent last year?
Yes, but I think you need a motion for that.
Yeah, hold on, I wanna make sure I still support it.
Let me read it to it.
Yeah.
I mean,
And then I'll update from the chair as well.
other than that, they're not sure right now. I think it's very well worded.
Okay, so, move to, authorize trustee Real to provide a letter of support, for the Safe Routes to School program application, utilizing the same language from the previous letter dated December 15, 2023, with the update to title only.
Second, moved by trustee Rail, seconded by trustee O'Brien. Discussion? Please call the roll.
Brian,
Yes.
Rail,
Yes. Okay,
And you'll forward that to me.
and then I'll forward it to you. You want the old one or the new one?
So that I'm really interested in that last part,
Okay.
because I actually have the letter from before.
Okay, yeah.
Any other late items?
No, that's all,
Okay, so after you do that, you want to do your motion to go into executive session.
yeah. No, it's gonna be AI. Okay, move to recess into executive session from regular session pursuant to ORC 121.22, G1, to consider the, appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, and compensation of a public employee or official.
Second?
With, friendly amendment with trustee O'Brien, trustee Braille, and fiscal officer Jordan present.
I agree with that. Friendly amendment. Discussion? Please call the roll.
Brian,
Yes,
Rail,
Yes.
we are in executive session.
All right.
I move that we return from executive session to regular session.
Second.
Moved by the chair, seconded by trustee Real. Discussion, please call the roll.
Rand,
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes. We did have an executive session. There were no decisions made, no actions taken. Is there any other late items before we adjourn?
Mr. Chair, I did have one late item. I am continuing to work on, it was listed as sick time transfer. It's really some employment pay policy updates. I'd like to propose taking those forward to Mr. Riedenhoff and bringing back a proposal for next meeting that I hope would be suitable for the board at that time to consider.
Okay. Anything further?
Not this time.
I move to adjourn.
A second.
Moved by the chair, seconded by trustee Real. Please call the roll.
Rand,
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes, we are adjourned.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.